What actually occurred was that Kirk Frost lost his mind and attacked Mona Scott. Yes, you read correctly. Kirk Frost targeted Mona Scott, the well-known producer of Love and Hip Hop, in a shocking, dramatic moment that nobody anticipated. How? Did we go from a normal moment on a reality program to a full-fledged altercation or incident? When Mona Scott, who is known for her typically composed manner, found herself brutally crashing with a set pillar, leaving her physically shaken and disturbed, you won't believe how rapidly things escalated in the heat of the moment. There? A more complex and twisted story at play here? Or was this merely a case of pent-up frustration? Disturbed on an emotional level, but that's not even the most startling aspect. The event went viral, sparking debates, responses, and a great deal of conjecture. On this heated altercation, fans, the media, and even other celebrities have voiced their opinions. In reality, what goes on behind the scenes? What made Kirk lose his temper? What will happen to Mona Scott next? You don't want to know, I assure. You, for all the bizarre facts that are still making waves in the industry, keep returning. Drama is nothing new to the reality TV industry, but what happened on the Love and Hip Hop set was very combustible. Kirk Frost, who is renowned for being calm under duress, suddenly broke, and when he did, it wasn't a little disagreement. What happened on that set was a titanic battle, an unexpected meeting that no one could have predicted. What led to this? Shocking fight. And what does it signify for everyone concerned? The whole Love and Hip Hop universe was rocked by a decision that started it all. Mona Scott, the well-known producer of the hugely successful franchise, made the bold choice to remove Kirk Frost and his wife Rashida from the program. These decisions are never made lightly, as everyone who watches reality TV knows. When the show's creative director, Mona Scott, determines that a plotline needs to be altered, it's not merely a minor adjustment, but a significant rebalancing of the whole dynamic. For Kirk Frost, Mona's move felt more like a personal jab than a professional setback, despite the fact that many believed it was a massive power move that would alter the show's trajectory. As we all know, Kirk isn't good at absorbing personal slights. After years of being, the turning point was his decision to have Mona remove his character and image while he was still active in the show and dealing with the issues surrounding his marriage. The show's producers and even the audience were deprived of understanding that Kirk was more than simply another cast member, as if the weight of all the tension that had built up over the years finally broke. A pivotal figure in the ongoing story. Kirk Frost's tumultuous relationship with Rashida, which was filled with highs and lows. Betrayals and reconciliations had kept spectators gripped. Therefore, removing him and Rashida was a major bet. Was it merely an attempt to stir things up, or was Mona Scott losing faith in the show's capacity to provide drama? Was not to be defeated easily? Fans were divided when rumors circulated that they were being taken down. Regardless of your opinion, some said it was a serious mistake that would sever Kirk and Rashida's relationship, while others saw it as Mona Scott abusing her power and acting in the show's best interests. Kirk was clearly unhappy. And this was not the kind of anger that would be forgotten easily. This was a major personal setback, and Kirk wasn't going to take it lying down. You could feel the tension building, and it wasn't just in front of the cameras. Not to mention Kirk Frost's extensive background in hip-hop and love. His standing on the show has always been a bit of a roller coaster, from his infamous affair with Mary Jane to his tumultuous marriage to Rashida. Let's face it, Kirk Frost was no stranger to controversy. Whether it was his personal decisions, his relationship with Rashida, or his involvement in some of the most dramatic events, Kirk had always been the type of person who added drama wherever he went, but this time it was genuine and unvarnished, rather than merely a staged quarrel or a scene from a script. Scott had just elevated the situation to a completely new level. It was a courageous move to exclude Rashida and Kirk Frost. The primary worries, though, were Kirk's reaction, whether the brand could survive without one of its most well-known pairings, and above all, what this would mean for the show's future. Kirk had been visibly upset in the weeks leading up to the event, and there were reports going around that he had a run-in with Mona Scott. While the team was on video, everyone understood that something was boiling and that the fury would eventually explode into something more significant. That is just what transpired on that fateful day, when tensions escalated and what had begun as a minor but manageable argument developed into something far more serious. Edge. And there was no turning back. So what precisely happened and how? Did Kirk Frost's violent abuse of Mona Scott escalate? The intensity of this altercation will surprise you. Kirk Frost's outburst was not the only thing impacted by the event that rocked the business. All that came before it was also affected. We'll explain everything for you now. It all came together to create one of the most startling images ever seen on camera. Keep reading, because the following section of this incredible tale exposes exactly what happened behind the scenes and uncovers the true nature of Kirk and Mona Scott's turbulent relationship. Knowing the history, let's examine what really happened on that fateful day that shook the hip-hop and love worlds and made Kirk Frost an overnight viral celebrity for all the wrong reasons. Wasn't merely a contentious dispute or a heated verbal exchange. Rather, what transpired that day went beyond the world was watching, and nobody could have predicted what they saw. Everyone knew that something was about to happen behind the scenes, and the anxiety was palpable from the minute the crew put up the cameras. There were rumors that Kirk Frost was planning to. Nobody expected things to grow so terrible. But those who were nervous to face Mona Scott realized that the decision to remove Kirk and Rashida from the show had started a series of events that would only get worse. Kirk only had to make a few innocuous comments to get at Mona Scott. Even though it seemed like it was just another ordinary day on set, Kirk Frost was already tense before the confrontation because his rage had been building, and he felt prepared for the storm that was going to hit her, according to people close to the production crew. She wasn't ready for it, but she was performing her routine of managing the show and pulling the strings behind the scenes, deceived by Mona Scott's choice to cut him off the program. Kirk first made an effort to maintain his composure and prevent any drama, but the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. This was like a slap in the face, because Kirk Frost had been a part of the show for years and had helped shape it in the face. And in this age of reality TV, Kirk Frost could not be replaced by anyone, not even the great Mona Scott. As a result, the conversation quickly turned passionate when Mona Scott approached Kirk to ask him to leave the show. Kirk was reportedly not holding back, and when Mona tried to justify her decision, it was as if a spark had been ignited. Things took a turn for the worse as Kirk felt more and more deceived by her words. Kirk began yelling, according to a staff member who wished to remain anonymous. "You think you can simply push me out like I'm nothing? I built this show with my blood, sweat, and tears," he said, his voice rising and shaking with anger. "You can't simply pull me out and expect me to forget about it." Mona Scott, who is often a cool-headed and calculated strategist, was surprised by Kirk's anger. But it wasn't the only startling event in the set, which had previously been a place of light conversation and controlled chaos, fell silent in an instant when Kirk Frost allegedly acted violently, shocking everyone on set by pushing Mona Scott backward. It wasn't just a tap or a light shove. It was a powerful force that sent Mona reeling. The fact that Kirk Frost had assaulted the woman who had sustained his romantic and hip-hop career shocked people right away. But that wasn't the worst part. Mona Scott was trying to get her bearings when she crashed into a pillar on set, and the sound of her head hitting the metal frame was enough to send shockwaves through the audience. It took a while for things to settle down, but Kirk Frost reportedly showed no remorse at that point. The entire crew felt as though time had stopped for a moment. The sound reverberated throughout the set, and everyone froze for a moment, unsure of what to do. Was Mona Scott okay? Had she been seriously hurt, while the team was confused about how to react? Others hurried to check on Mona Scott, who was clearly disoriented by the impact but fortunately not seriously injured. Mona just stood there fuming, his fury taking over. And his only thoughts were pain and shame, injuries. But for someone like Mona, who had built her empire on poise, strategy, and control, the psychological and emotional toll of the incident was evident, and Kirk's outburst wasn't just a personal attack on her. It was a challenge to her authority, and that was something that couldn't be ignored. Fans, media outlets, and even other celebrities weighed in on the matter, unable to believe what they had just watched. Was Kirk Frost truly out of control, or was it just a publicity stunt? The public's reaction to the brawl video leak was immediate. The main question was what this meant for the future of hip-hop and love, and whether the show could continue. Some backed Kirk, arguing that he had every right to be upset about being kicked off the show, while others backed Mona Scott, who accused Kirk of being disrespectful to the person who gave him his platform and acting unprofessionally. The questions were still unanswered, but in the world of reality TV, anything can happen. Was Kirk Frost's behavior a sign of problems behind the scenes? And how would Mona Scott respond? This wasn't just a minor incident. It was a massive PR nightmare that could have long-term effects on all parties involved. The shocking altercation was just the beginning of a much larger and more complex story that would unfold over the coming weeks. But this was more than anyone could have imagined. As we await the fallout from this explosive scandal, one thing is certain: love and hip-hop will never be the same. Stay tuned for part 3 of Oz. The dust settles from the shocking altercation between Kirk Frost and Mona Scott. The real question is what will happen next. This scandal isn't just a minor blip on the reality TV radar. It's the future of the show and all those involved. This story will go deeper into the aftermath of Kirk Frost's shocking attack and what it means for all those involved. After all, it wasn't just a disagreement between two cast members. Rather, it was a full-fledged assault that was captured on camera, shared on social media, and examined by millions of people. Where does this story go from here? What happens to Kirk? This kind of incident has the potential to completely alter the dynamics of hip-hop and love, possibly ruining careers in the process. In the world of reality TV, there are no simple solutions. But one thing is for sure: the ramifications of this shocking attack are far from over. Frost, Mona Scott, and even the Love and Hip Hop brand itself are still dealing with the immediate fallout from this public scandal. Confrontation. Let's look at the immediate effects first. Mona Scott, who was known for her cool demeanor and wise counsel, was thrust into the spotlight. She had become the queen of reality TV. But this incident threatened to ruin that carefully built reputation after, in addition to coping with the physical and psychological effects of the altercation, Mona Scott had to figure out how to repair her reputation after it had just taken a severe blow, destroying the foundation of her success as the creator of some of the biggest reality TV franchises in history. However, Kirk Frost was also at the center of a massive PR disaster. Its actions that day were not only an outburst of rage and frustration, but also a blatant violation of the unwritten rules of public relations. Her ability to remain composed, maintain order, and create drama in front of the cameras was now being questioned. Despite being experienced in the reality TV industry, Kirk Frost's actions set a dangerous precedent. And it was clear that dealing with the legal fallout would be challenging. However, in addition to the public relations nightmare, Kirk Frost could face significant legal ramifications because the altercation wasn't just a minor disagreement between legal experts. Predicted that Mona Scott may sue Kirk Frost for assault, especially given the fact that Mona was fortunate not to suffer any significant injuries from the physical assault. But it is still true that Kirk Frost shoved Mona, leaving the door open for potential legal action. Videos of physical altercations can be used as evidence in court. And since the altercation was caught on camera and was seen by millions of people in multiple locations, Mona might decide that suing Kirk is the best course of action to protect herself and send a message to the industry that such behavior won't be tolerated. Legal experts agree that Kirk Frost wouldn't be immune from legal action even if he claimed that his actions were an emotional outburst caused by the stress and annoyance he had been feeling since being fired from the show. This is because the fact that he physically hurt someone on set could still result in accusations, whether intentional or not. And if Mona Scott decides to file a lawsuit, it could lead to a protracted and costly legal battle that could affect Kirk's career and the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise. The network and producers do not want this controversy to be associated with legal action. Procedures, especially when the show's reputation is already in jeopardy. Speaking of the show's reputation, what does this all mean for Love and Hip Hop? The series has been a mainstay of the reality TV industry for years. But this scandal has opened a new chapter in the show's history. Will Love and Hip Hop be able to move past this? The show's aftermath is as complex as the aftermath of Kirk Frost and Mona Scott, controversy, or the beginning of its demise. On the one hand, reality TV feeds on this kind of drama. The more heated the confrontation, the more viewers watch. But the violence is the issue. Was an attack not simply a staged fight or an exaggerated debate? But if the network continues to promote Kirk Frost and Mona Scott after such an occurrence, it might send a bad message to fans and viewers alike. The producers of Love and Hip Hop may decide that it's time for a change. If the situation worsens, Kirk Frost may be permanently fired from the show, and Mona Scott's job may also be in jeopardy. But there is always a chance that the filmmakers will decide that these polarizing characters are not worth the long term. Damage to the show's reputation. Play into the drama and use it to generate more buzz for the upcoming season. After all, controversy sells, and if they can work the scandal into the next season's plot, it could boost viewership and ratings, but it will cost the show's reputation, the public's opinion, and the enjoyment of its fans. Hashtags like hashtag Kirk Frost versus Mona Scott and hashtag Love and Hip Hop scandal swiftly went trending, and fans, celebrities, and media outlets jumped in to voice their comments on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook in response to the brawl, while some fans were quick to pick sides, supporting Kirk Frost because they believed he had every right to be angry and that Mona Scott had wronged him by removing him from the show. Others were horrified by his violent behavior and believed that touching Mona Scott was never justified. Some fans, of course, were only interested in the drama and didn't care who was right or wrong. They just wanted to watch the mayhem unfold. They demanded that he be taken off the show and that justice be done. They said that this kind of drama was what made Hip Hop and Love so entertaining, and they couldn't wait to see how was this. Just another case of reality TV going too far? Or was there more to it? Could the Love and Hip Hop brand ever move past the scandal, or was this the beginning of the end? What comes next in the story? Producers would deal with the fallout. The fan base was divided, with some taking sides, while others simply wanted answers. The world is waiting for Mona Scott and Kirk Frost to make an official statement. Will Mona Scott sue Kirk Frost, or will she try to move on and forget about the incident? Will Kirk be fired from the program or allowed to stay on the cast? Will Love and Hip Hop be able to get past this PR disaster? We would love to hear your thoughts as this shocking story unfolds. Fans and media outlets are eager to hear the answers to these questions, but one thing is certain: the public is waiting. The industry is still researching the situation, and Kirk Frost and Mona Scott's futures are still uncertain. Please leave your comments below. Readers, and if you're watching, we'd also like to know what you think of Kirk Frost's explosive attack on Mona Scott. Was it a fit of passion, or did he go too far? Should Mona Scott sue, or should this be ignored? You won't want to miss what happens next in this collapse of reality TV. So tell us what you really think in a startled remark, and subscribe to get updates on all the juicy, scandalous stories as they happen. More